We do that. I thank you all for being here. I've visited Belarus on a couple of occasions and met with Lukashenko. And he's a man who likes power, and he's not going to give it up. He has no regard for the law. He has regard for his own power and his own, really, an empire which he wants to have. But he knows he's weak, and he knew he was to be the vassal of Putin. He had no choice but to give in to Putin, because Putin would have taken over Belarus. So he made his deal with the devil. It's disturbing that he's taken these children. Ms. Rashevska has the children in Belarus, they were kidnapped by the Russians and then transferred to Belarus, is that correct?
So these children, they were displaced. Unfortunately, we are not able to prove that all children were just kidnapped, but we have at least 3 groups of children orphans and children deprived of parental care. This is approximately 150 kids who were really kidnapped, who were really abducted, because Ukraine, as a state who is responsible for these children, who is parents patria, has not given its consent to this transfer. In other cases, it was really difficult to confirm or deny the not coerced nature of this consent, because unfortunately mostly these kids and their parents, they still be in occupied territories, and that is why to contact these people and to ask them whether these children were returned or they were not returned, this is just to pose these people under the risk to be persecuted by the Russian Federation. But we are really persuaded that the Belarusian regime is guilty just because these children were re-educated, just because these children were indoctrinated. And several days ago, the new group of children orphans from the occupied Donetsk region, this is 38 orphans and children deprived of parental care, they were sent to Belarus, but the logistics of this transfer was totally new and unique. Firstly, these children were sent to Moscow, then these children were sent to Minsk, then to Vitebsk, and that is why we are not sure that all children would be returned, especially because of their status. These children are orphans, no one is looking for them, and unfortunately Belarus as well as Russia, they don't allow access of any independent monitoring mission to the process of this transfer. So it is really difficult to just give a short answer to your question, but this is a challenge for Ukraine just to identify the logistics of this transfer and also the children who were allegedly kidnapped.
But they would have come from eastern Ukraine, is that not correct?
Yes.
And Moscow and Minsk, and then are they being trained to be in military, to be in soldiers, or just being in the military to be taught to take orders and adapt to being Belarusian?
This is a difference between Russia and Belarus, because while the Russian Federation is trying to make from these children loyal Russian patriots and future soldiers, Belarus is only assisting the Russian Federation to achieve this goal. That is why we didn't document cases where, for example, these children were subjected to have Belarusian passports or Belarusian documents, or these children were transferred to Belarusian families for adoption, like it was with Ukrainian children deported to Russia. And that is why we should qualify as a crime to Belarusian representatives, because they are not involved in the crime of deportation, but they're involved in the crime against humanity. So their role is a little bit different than the role of Russians, but it still be an international crime.
To the best of your knowledge, have any of these Ukrainian children been sent into the battlefield on behalf of Russia?
we documented at least 27 children who were firstly sent to Belarus, then they were returned, then they were sent to Russia, and the fate of these children is unknown. So we are not sure that Belarus is not used as some point in order just to organize the process of the final deportation of these children to Russia. For example, to use this time in order to prepare these children to find for them Russian foster families and so on and so forth. So this is also the unique role of the stay in Belarus for these children.
Thank you very much. I'm going to yield to Mr. Quigley from Illinois.
Thank you, Chair.